This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined here on Zoom with a good friend of mine, Brad the Stingray. How are you,
Yeah,
bro?
I'm all good. I'm all good, Charlie. How's things, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Look, let's jump straight into it. This week we've got a massive fight. Obviously, you're with Boxer putting on the event. Shields Marshall. So much talk about it for years. We thought it might be done over the line, and then it wasn't. And now this week it finally takes place. It's at the O2. It's an all-female card. Just your first thoughts on the fight. I imagine you would have had a chance now to watch the gloves are off, etc. Um, just your thoughts moving on to Saturday.
Yeah, massive fight, mate. Massive fight. It's like you say, all women's card, huge, mate. Think it's the first time that's happened, and recent times these women's fights are kind of, you've had the Taylor Savannah fight. They really kind of capturing the imagination of the public, and I think Shields Marshall is exactly the same, maybe even more so because of the kind of rivalry there, and they've got the history, and it's kind of been building for a while. This, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great fight.
Obviously, here in the UK, we've got a lot of that sort of English bias. We've seen it over the years. I think a lot of people over here lean in towards Marshall because of that knockout power. But Claressa, obviously a two-time gold medalist in the Olympics, a master boxer out of the females. Is it as simple as Marshall going in there and knocking her out? Because I don't think it is. And I think a lot of people are sort of going into this Saturday thinking it's just going to be one of the routine knockout jobs. But it's just so difficult, isn't it? It's like you never really know what's going to happen until I suppose that first bell goes.
Yeah, no way, mate. Like, I'm not a big fan of Shields. She's a great fighter, but she burns me head out. But she's a very, very, very good fighter. And for me, I probably think she's the favourite going into the fight. I think she should win the fight. And I think people, like you say, you do get that bias over here sometimes. But I think, especially over in America and all over the world, I think people will be picking Shields for the win. But call me biased, say what you want. I think Savannah's going to get the job done. I really do. And I think she's going to knock her out. I think she's going to stop her. I think her and Peter Fury, one of the best team ups in boxing at the moment. I think they've got a great understanding of each other, and I think Peter, will have the game plan bang on, and I think they'll get the job done. I really do, and I think it'll be in explosive fashion.
What is the route to victory for both fighters? What do they have to do in them early rounds to make sure the fight goes their way over the distance?
For me, I think Savannah needs to hit hard early on and let her know, this isn't the amateur anymore. I've got these little 10-ounce gloves on, and when I hit you on the chin, it's gonna work. And I think, for me, I think she wants to grab Shields into a bit of a shootout. And I think early on, it might not go all Savannah's way. That I think she will maybe drop a few rounds early on, take a few shots. But I think eventually, if that continues, I think Savannah will land clean, and I think she'll hurt her. And you've seen in the past that killer instinct that Marshall's got. If she has Shields hurt, she'll be going for the kill.
And then obviously also on the card, we got Michaela Mayer against Baumgartner. Obviously Matchroom and Top Rank combined to make history on the card at the O2 this weekend. Another fight where the hatred is there, like it is in Shields Marshall. The pair really don't like each other. Look, it's difficult because it's one of them fights where obviously we've seen Baumgartner come in. It was a sort of moment to shine. She came in and absolutely blitzed Terry Harper. Last time out, didn't look as good. Said she wanted to box a little bit more, but wasn't as appealing on the eye. We know what we get from Michaela Mayer. What do you think about that one?
For me, I think this is the best fight on the bill. I think this is going to be a better fight than the main event. I think the main event could be a little bit cagey at times. It could be, scared to engage at times. And the like I said with Marshall Shields, they have got that rivalry and they don't like each other, but Mayer and Baumgartner, like they seem to have that hatred, like you said, and I think that's gonna from the first bell. I think that's gonna catch fire, and I think that's gonna be the fight of the show. I'm sitting on the fence for it. I'm sitting on the fence. I don't think I've seen plenty of both fighters, but I don't think I've kind of watched them enough to kind of judge them against each other. But I'm just going to sit back as a fan and I'm just going to enjoy that one because, like I say, I think it's going to be a great fight and I think it'll be from the first bell to the last bell.
Moving on away from the females, obviously we always see the talk with the heavyweights. I feel like we've had this discussion so many times now over the years of boxing media. You know what I'm going to ask you? Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury were in this position again. Tyson has said to him on social media in what was quite a respectful call out, saying, look, December, we've got the date, we've got the venue. Let me know. Joshua's replied back saying, we don't want to do all the online stuff. Let's just get it done. It's so difficult to sort of, I feel like as boxing fans anymore, we can't even get excited or carried away, I suppose, until they're even in the ring, let alone announced. Do we realistically see this fight happening?
No, I don't think this fight happens by the end of the year. I'll be very, very surprised if it does. And for me, I'm out of the two. I'm a Fury man. I always have been. But I think, I just don't think it's a Joshua's coming off two biggest losses by Usyk. In the second fight, I think it was a little bit more competitive, but he still lost the fight quite convincingly. And then, all of the carry on after the fight, which we've seen. For me, I don't think it's a wise decision for Anthony Joshua to jump straight back into the ring against a fighter like Fury so quickly. But then again, you know what I mean? I'm not Anthony Joshua. It's not my decision to make. I don't know him personally, or I've not spoken to him since the fight. I don't know where his headspace is at. But for me, I just think he could do with a little bit of a chill out. I maybe look at going next year. But you never know with boxing, mate. You really never know. And if I don't think either of them are scared of taking the fight. I think, the fight would be pretty easy to make now. I think Fury sees it as maybe an easy-ish win and getting a lot of money for it. I think Joshua would probably look at it as, what have I got to lose now? You know what I mean? He's not got that undefeated record where he's scared of losing. He's not got a belt that, he could lose out in, and he hasn't got anything to lose. He really hasn't. And, I think with me, that fight, it all depends on which Tyson Fury turns up. Because you can get the Tyson Fury you boxed Wilder in the second fight, and I think it would be a demolition job. I think he'd within 6 rounds, I think he'd do AJ. And then you get the Tyson Fury who maybe box Wilder in third fight, or like you've seen him in the past in other fights, and I think it'd be an absolute shootout. I think both men would hit the floor. I think it'd be a dust up, and I think it'd be a very entertaining fight. And for me, I don't think it matters which Joshua. I think Joshua's always on his game when he turns up. I think it's all down to Fury. Realistically, though, I can't see the fight happening before the end of the year. No, I'd be very surprised if it does.
I think same here. I think obviously with all the talk over the years, I think we thought we might have finally had it. Was it last summer or the summer before in Saudi? And then obviously that fell through. So yeah, just round swings and roundabouts until we actually find out what goes on there. And then just finally from me, Brad, what's going on with you, mate? Obviously, see you last time out in Newcastle. I think then you were meant to be out again, but had a few problems and then boxed on a show in Hull. So I imagine now you'll want to get back to it, get back in the ring with, I don't know, are we looking at English titles now?
Yeah, mate. I've made it clear. That was my goal for the end of the year, and You know, me and my coach Blaine, we've expressed that to my manager Steve Wood. We've expressed that to Ben and to Boxer, and you know, I'm leaving it in their hands. I'm in the gym training now, putting the work in, back sparring, feeling good for the start of camp. You know, usually I get back in camp and I'm a bit fat, blowing out my heart after a few rounds. Get my head punched in sparring for a few weeks, but you know, I think I've started camp at a pretty good place here. You know, and I think with the notice that I'll get for this next fight, hopefully, you know, you'll see the best me in there, and hopefully it's for that English title. Hopefully it's on a big show, potentially, you know, in Manchester, and yeah, you know, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be ready, but you know, we're just waiting to hear back. But whenever it is, you know, I'm going to be ready. And if it's that English title, I'm confident. You know, before the end of the year, I'll have hold of that English title.
Well, Brad, thank you very much for your time. It was always a pleasure catching up. Hopefully, next couple of times it will be in person because it's been too long, my brother.
You miss me, don't you, mate? You miss me.
Of course, I miss you. Just a final message to the people watching.
Yeah, you know, big thanks to everyone for the support as always. I know I keep teasing, you know, fight news coming soon, and there is, a promise. We're just waiting for the final few details, but you know, be patient, and sooner or later you'll all be out pissed up, hopefully watching me get my hand raised again. So, you know, a little bit of patience, but you know, we're getting there definitely.
Brad, top man.